The season for a fresh cut is finally here with the sponsor of today's show, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have just launched their 5th generation performance package with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. If you want the best stocking stuffer, go to manscaped.com. Use the code Chael. That's going to save you 20% and get you free shipping. Manscaped is a one-stop shop for all of your holiday needs. Guys, the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra makes the perfect gift. Featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, guys, this is the crown jewel of holiday gifts. This electric razor's advanced skin-safe technology is a lifesaver, and it helps reduce nicks and cuts. And the fun doesn't stop there. Snag Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit and Handyman Electric Face Shaver, or grab the Weed Whacker 2.0 Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer. For our less hairy guys, pick up their new Shears 3.0 Nail Grooming Kit, or Manscaped's Boxers 2.0. They have got all men covered this holiday season. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Chael when you go to manscaped.com, or just click on the link below. Ian Garry has gone quiet. You know, guys, I got to tell you, I will sit back and I will observe this, but I don't fully know that I have a prediction on how this is going to go or what should be done. There are times in history where a guy has buried his head in the sand as a way of getting out of something. That part will succeed. You will get out of it. Time heals all wounds, all those expressions, but those are true. There's another way to go out and face the music right now. Get all those questions, all those boring and annoying questions, whatever dance I'm going to do that I've well rehearsed, and be done with it. And Ian appears to be a very good communicator. He appears to be a very confident guy that is going to hold his head high. So to see him disappear has surprised me. And I think that Ian is in a very, very good spot. I believe Belal Muhammad is going to take on the winner of Leon and Colby. I believe that promise is out there. I believe that that's done. But either way, you have backup positions. You have contenders fights, right? If Belal Muhammad is in fact going to take on the winner of Leon versus Colby because of the outcome of his match against Burns, then it shows you have number one contenders fights. And Garry is in this wildly interesting position. Like, Colby is saying he's not going to fight Belal. Now, Colby will fight whoever it is. I'm just sharing for you. Colby's already got another opponent in mind. That's how many steps ahead he is, just to try to take this from Belal, because Belal tried to take it from him. You then have Leon, who is not going to do anything interesting regardless of who the opponent is. That's all right. It's not a knock on Leon. It's one of these spots where Garry versus Leon, because of the gym alone, just because of being kicked out of the gym and their time in the training room, that alone is a very interesting story. And Garry is ranked very high, and Garry is completely undefeated, and Garry has a shelf life, and he's a young guy. And you would have very big opportunities. I mean, I'll go as far as to tell you, if it wasn't for Belal having beat Burns and already have this deal made, if it wasn't for that, I would be predicting for you that if Garry gets a win and Leon gets a win, that will be the next match. I wouldn't be completely confident in telling you, regardless of who wins between Leon and Colby, if Garry gets a win, that's going to be the next match. I think he is in that strong of a position to make an argument for number one contender, absent a deal that's already been made. So the headlines would be very interesting. What Garry is willing to do for headlines is very interesting. Now, Gary's getting a bump back, right? You get a receipt, things come back. The way Garry chose at the last moment to promote his fight against Neil Magny was mean. There's a difference in trash talk. There's a difference in hype. And then you have mean. What he did to Neil Magny was a cruel thing to do to anybody. And he performed it better than an Oscar-nominated actor. He performed it as though he believed it, as though he truly thought what he was saying about Neil is what Neil had just confessed to. It was mean. And you will get paid back for those things. But what kind of shame or embarrassment you have to deal with? Because you're married to an entrepreneur who took the time to write a book and was smart enough to post it on the internet for people to buy? The ability, I mean, I can only imagine if I was in his spot. Right? If I was in his spot, as you know, this would be long gone. But I also would have built in a piece after the fact that this was all done for marketing of the book. I would have created that. There was a guy named Brian Bosworth. He sucked at football, but boy, was he ever marketable. And he wasn't a bad football player. He was a wimp. He was hurt all the time, and he was a little ahead of the curve on the steroids. He had a cool haircut. And I'm just sharing with you, he wasn't made for the next level, right? Like, if you're on steroids in college, the really good things are going to happen to you. If you're on steroids in the NFL, you're just matching the locker room. So all of a sudden, that secret juice, everybody else has the same secret, right? It doesn't give you an advantage. That is my point. So you can have these college studs that get into college and they wash out. They all have the same secret. They were on steroids and their college teammates weren't. They're now in the NFL and their teammates are. That's the secret. But Bosworth was so hated, somebody made a shirt. There was 2 shirts made. I love Boz, and they sold out. People loved him. This guy was very, very popular. And then somebody made a shirt, I hate Boz, and they also sold out. Boz created a story that he made those shirts. That he's the one that actually sold the I love, and he's the one that sold the I hate. That he profited. He even had a number of $7 million. That was a complete lie. He had nothing to do with those shirts. He'd made no money. He didn't even have the idea. But he was smart enough, right? And the internet wasn't around to come out with a story where the guy that actually made it and actually couldn't come out and refute it. It was very easy to do back then. I mean, I only share with you, had I been in the spot of Ian Garry, I would have already rolled out a story. I would be showing up to the press conference with a black shirt in big white letters with the URL of where you could buy that pamphlet. This all would have been part of our master plan. It's the next George Foreman grill. Failed 3 times, but George got behind it, became an all-time bestseller. I would have done that exact same thing. And people would have bought it, they would have eaten it up, and you would move on with it. And I am surprised, I will admit, to see him bury his head in the sand, because it's not just going to go away, right? And there's ways to deal with it and to get the topic to go. But when you fall, 99% of people are going to fall backwards. If you're going to fall, you choose. Have you guys ever fallen? Has that ever happened to you? Where you've actually fallen? You lose your balance? Has that ever happened? Because you choose. You choose to go to your butt, or you choose to fall forward. It's your choice. Most people just go back. It just happens. You can fall forward. So putting your head down and trying to outrun it and just hope another topic comes up, like that will happen. You can avoid discussing it, but you still fell. A little cleverness and a little creativity and go out and face in the music and handle it until the questions stop asking because it comes old news and you can turn the page and go on is how you fall forward. I'm going to keep observing this. I want good things to happen for Ian. I don't want them to have to suffer this shame, embarrassment, stress, anything that he's going through. I don't want that for anybody. But when you find yourself in a hurricane, you still got to find a way out.